Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACCUPLACER Tutoring. I'm hoping you guys are doing very well this lovely evening. I know a lot of people in Maryland are probably nice and tired because today was the first day of school for a lot of our youth, especially in Anne Arundel County. I think some parts of Baltimore County, if I'm not mistaken. But Baltimore City will be opening up, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on Wednesday. So, welcome back, everybody. And I know there's probably some people sitting here listening like, we've been back for like 3 weeks. Yeah, well, at the same time, you got out of school at the end of May, whereas we got out of school at the end of June. Yeah, make it make sense. So anyway, really glad that you're here. Right now, we're going to continue on with our word problems, trying to really translate it from verbal to algebraic. But I'm going to put it in a sense that it's going to be one of those GED 4-point questions, which is called the systems of equations. So hopefully, as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and tap on up. Because we're going to take a look at system of equations. We're going to try to show you how to break it on down and not stress yourself out, right? So as I said, this would be great for those that are taking the GED. These are definitely 4-point questions, and you really want to do well with those. If you're thinking about taking the ASVAB, there's also on there the T's. Any of the nursing programs, any of the high school equivalency, if you're thinking about being an engineer, if you're thinking about being an electrician, apprentice, almost any type of assessment, ACT, SAT, it's all going to cover this thing. So if you guys want to sit and just relax and let me show you how to do it step by step, come on in. This is definitely the live for you. So let's see who's here. Hey, Robert. Okay, they're open on Thursday. Okay. Your book just came today. Yay! I know, we were all a little freaked out about that. I'm so glad it is. Jess, you're here today. Good. I know Michael was like, where's Jess? Why is Jess not here? That's what he was doing yesterday. Oh, my goodness. So I'm doing all right. I'm here. Hey, Big Al. Nice coming on in. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for the follow. Abundantly blessed. I love that. So how's it going? It's going. It's going. So right now, just preparing for the wave, getting myself ready for the next venture. Just trying to keep things live, things fresh, and keep things going. Yeah, how's it going with you? I totally understand, Jess. Totally understand. Yep, we do. We all need those little breaks once in a while. Yep. So, as you guys are coming on in, you're almost there. We're going to get started once we get to 1,000. That is 1K. And we're there. That was easy. All right. So as we're looking at system of equations, remember, a system is basically two or more equations that you're dealing with two or more variables. Now, when it comes down to all of this, let's take a look at one step at a time. So let me cover the other one so it won't be like, there's too much stuff on the paper. Okay, so let me come here, let me zoom in just a lot, and then we're going to take it from here. All right, so if Jane has 36 coins, okay, totaling $3, and the coins are all nickels and quarters, how many of each coin does she have? All right, so before we do anything, and especially if you're doing like the SAT or if you're doing Regents, which we're not doing Regents, we just finished those. There's usually a section called the BCR or the ECRs. So that's when you actually have to put your work down. Now, for us, we're going to have to figure out so we know if we had some letters, which of those letters or answer choices we're going to pick. So before we do anything, first things first, we need to realize what's going to represent our nickels and what's going to represent our dimes. Now, if you don't want to be too technical, you can just say N for nickels and D for dimes. That's perfectly fine, okay? So now we're going to have to write two equations. One is going to deal with the coins themselves, and the other one is going to deal with their values. Because sometimes we don't know which to do. Like, okay, we know we need an equation, because I know if I look at this, I see 36 coins. That jumps at me. I'm seeing a totaling of $3. I'm seeing nickels. Oh, sorry, not dimes. It's supposed to be quarters. So sorry. I was thinking of the other problems that I've done. And I even read it too. Okay, so Q for quarters. Okay, so I know I got nickels, I got quarters, I got 36 coins, I got $3. All right, so I know one equation is going to deal with just the coins. So for just the coins, not their values, just the coins themselves, you're going to have your nickel, your quarters, and the number of coins we have, which is 36. Okay. The next one is going to deal with the values. So now the values is, and you'd be shocked as all kinds of holy, that some kids are still struggling with how much things are valuing, because they're so used to using cards, and they're so used to not really dealing with, I've actually seen kids take change and throw it in the street because they're like, this means nothing to me. What? Okay, here we are. So here I am with a Hoover going around cleaning up nickels, dimes, and quarters like a crazy woman. So now I want to know my value of a nickel. So 5 cents, that's 0.05. Okay, that is the value of a nickel. I know, welcome to my world. If you already know this, just ride it out with me. It's okay. Now the value of a quarter. So a quarter is 0.25. And that's the value of a quarter. And then how many and how much it costs, or how much totals, was $3. Okay, so that's your two equations. Okay, so now, didn't add the letters. Yes, we definitely have to add the letters to it. Okay, now from here, we can do one of basically three things. The first option is we can solve either the first equation or the second equation for either N or Q to substitute into the second equation. That's one option. Another option is to do elimination. So we would have to multiply that first equation by whatever we want to eliminate and change its signs. Or, since a lot of us struggle with the decimals, let's get rid of the decimals first. And some people are probably like, wait, what? We can do that? Yeah, you can. You can most definitely do that. Because think about it. Most of our change is out of 100. Like out of 100 pennies, right? So why not, let's get rid of these decimals and multiply just to what's in blue. Multiply everything by 100. The reason why I would do that is because if I multiply 100 by 0.05, that's going to give me 5. If I multiply 100 by 0.25 or 25 hundredths, okay, that's going to give me 25. And if I multiply $3, that's going to give me 300. Okay, so by multiplying everything in that second equation by 100, now you don't have to feel so threatened. Okay, now you don't have to feel so threatened because now I got to deal with whole numbers. And now I can play around with things. And if I want to do elimination, I can do elimination. If I want to do substitution, I can do substitution. Okay, but now it's a little bit cleaner. All right. Right? I know, right? Because we're so used to, like, if you're really good with decimals, go. Just ignore that first step. Go ahead and keep it going. But if you struggle with decimals and you really want to be able to get this 4-point question off that GED, multiply everything, all the change, by $1, by 100 pennies. So now we got our whole numbers. So if we want, we can do this. Let me rewrite. So we either have n plus q is equal to 36, or we have 5n plus 25q is equal to 300. If I want to solve this by elimination, let's just say, I could multiply that top equation by either a -5 or by a -25. It's going to be up to you what you want to basically eliminate, because they want to know how much of each coin does she have. So it doesn't matter if you eliminate the n's first or you eliminate the q's first. So if we want, let's say we want to eliminate the q's. Why not? Let's eliminate the n's. Let's do the n's. So if I want to eliminate the n's, that means I got to multiply everything in that top equation by a -5. Reason why a -5 is because I'll be able to just add the two equations after I finish doing this distribution. Okay, so now we have -5 times n, that gives me -5n, plus -5 times q gives me a -5q. Now, -5 times 36, that gives me a -180. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite that bottom equation right underneath. So we have our 5n plus our 25q is equal to 300. So now we can basically add those two equations together. Yes, that's why we're using the 5. There you go. All right. So Lisa's saying 31. Good. Let's take a look. So now, -5n plus 5n, they cancel out, because a negative plus a positive gives me 0, and I don't need the 0n. We don't need the 0 as a placeholder. So now we have -5 plus a positive 25. When the signs are opposite, that means we are subtracting. So if I owed somebody $5 and I decide to give them $25, hey, they made $20 off of me. Okay, so now we have our 300, and we're going to subtract the 180. Or if you want to say someone owed me 180, I paid them 300. That means I overpaid them by 120. There we go. Good. Way to stick with me, people. All right. So now we're going to take that 120 and we're going to divide both sides by 20 because we want to get Q by itself. So 20 divided by 20, that gives me a 1. But in this case, Q is still here. And then 120 divided by 20, there you go. That will give me 6. Now, if you don't want to deal with the large numbers, both of them ends in 0. So since they both end in 0, you can cancel out the 0 at the end and just focus on 12 divided by 2, which will give me 6. All right? Good. Nice, Jess. Good, Vista sister. Good, Big Al. Soup. How are you doing? Good. Excellent. So we know that there are 6 quarters. Okay? We got 6 quarters. How many nickels? Put it in the chat. How many nickels? Think about what we started off with. Savita sister saying 30. Okay. Baxter saying 30. Little Spoon. Oh, Little Spoon, get with soup. Sorry. Couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. You set me up. So you're saying 30. Big Al saying 30. Were algebra teachers given prize money to confuse us in the 80s? I don't know. I was in class. I guess they were. Except for my senior year teacher. He didn't. He was really cool. Okay. So we got Alicia saying 30. How you make the division simple? Not a problem. Yes, yes, yes. Addition to success. I try. Good. Excellent, guys. Yeah, I was just telling her that, Michael, early when she came on. I was like, Michael was like, where were you? Where is she? All right. So remember, we had 36 coins in the beginning. If we know we have N plus Q is equal to 36. Okay. The N plus Q is equal to 36. We know that Q is going to be 6. We could put it like this, but hey, when you're testing, you don't have to be all fancy and schmancy about it. Because guys, during the test, they're not going to be like, oh, let me see your paper. Let me see how you worked out the problem so I can give you partial credit. Psh, no, they just care, did you pick A, B, C, or D? Some test E, okay? Did you pick the right answer? So sometimes our homegrown ways of solving, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. So we got our 30 nickels. And the only thing, and I addressed this yesterday, that it really hit me, and I was like, ooh, I don't know how people are going to handle this. When our students, they're not, how should I put this? They weren't taught how to write numbers. If you notice, a lot of the stuff that people do is just like bare bones, just like this. Okay, just adding, subtracting. They're already given the equations and they're told to solve, or they're told to simplify, or they're told to evaluate. But if you notice a lot of word problems, they actually write out the words. So let me show you, for example, and then I'll check everyone's things. So here's our next example. I'm going to try to put it in frame as best as I can. Okay. So at the end of the 2000 Women's NBA regular season, The Houston Comets had 22 more victories than losses. The number of wins were 3 less than 6 times the number of losses. How many regular season games did the Comets play in 2000? Now, here's a fun fact. Your girl tried out for the women's NBA and for the Olympics many moons ago. The Olympics, I just missed the second to the last cuts. And the women's NBA, this was the inaugural year when they just started. I was trying out for the New York Liberty, and I just missed out. I got cut on the final cuts. I know. Sad. But you know what? Now look at my life. All right, I just made myself really depressed for a second. But I remember these fun things. And all those ladies that were playing and everything, a lot of them, I'm friends with them. Some of them, I've just played against them. It was just a great time. But this is what I'm talking about. Right? Let me see if I can get my highlighter. See, we're older and we get this. Okay? Right here. And right here. And you're like, Audrey, that's just 3 and 6. I'm like, yeah, because we're older. We know 3 and 6 written out into words, verbally. Because we used to write checks. Our kids nowadays don't have to write checks. They get direct deposits. So is the art of writing numbers out verbally going to go extinct? Okay. They actually did pretty well. Yeah, that was like that first year. They actually did pretty well. Yeah, this is before people were like watching it. Yep, and the same as cursive. Exactly. So it's kind of like when you start seeing these word problems, and like our students are probably like, I don't know where to go. I just see a whole bunch of word problems because they're so used to seeing that naked math. Like there's just like, like I said, the simplifying, the solving and all that stuff. And this is why a lot of them struggle with the word problems, because they don't see where things are supposed to fit in because they're so used to getting the problems already formed. But what we have to do, and what's good for us, is we can break those things down a little bit better than our kids. It's weird. Yep, they'll have AI write it for them. I know, it's crazy. But we have two situations here, okay? Yes, it's the same team, but there's two things they're talking about. The first thing they mention is 22 more victories than losses. So if we're going to say, let's go with W is going to take care of our wins, and L is going to take care of our losses. Like even drawing a slight cursive L like this freaks them out. They're like, what is that? Is that an E? What is that? Is that a loop? A loop? Yeah. Welcome to my world. So if we're saying they had 22 more victories than losses, okay? So we're saying for their wins, they have 22 more than. And we talked about more than before. More than is going to be what operation? Put that into the chat. More than means what? Good. Nice, Kaya. Yeah, they are. Good. Good, Vita. Good, Big Al. Good, Raffaella. Ooh. Good. Hey, Nicole. Good, Jess. There we are. Good. So that's addition. So remember, it's going to be 22 more than the losses. So it's my loss plus 22. Okay? More than and less than, remember they have to switch. Okay? So that means that plus sign is attached to our 22. All right? So make sure it's the other way around. Okay? Just switch it the other way around. Because it's 22 more than the losses. So that means the 22 is going to be attached to the plus. Now, the other equation goes with the next line. The number of wins, here we go with a W again, were 3 less than 6 times the number of losses. So we got a couple things going on here. So 3 less than 6 times the number of losses. So if we're looking at, okay, there is going to be, but there's something missing, Big Al. Okay, Phil, how are you? Okay, Maya, we got Michael, we got. So we have 6L minus 3, 6L minus 3, Kai 6L minus 3, Amber 6L minus 3, Beta 6X minus 3, or 6L. Gotcha. Little Spoon 6L minus 3. Yes. So we have the subtraction, that's the less than. And they're saying 3 less than, so that means it's minus 3 on the end. But what goes in front is 6 times the number of losses. Since we have losses using the letter L, we're doing 6 times that. So that would be 6L. Okay. Yep. So user 4563, just switch them around because it's saying 3 less than. So that means the 3 is going to take over that minus sign. All right. Okay, there you go, Big Al. There it is. Okay, so now, here we go. How many regular season games did they play? Well, if we figure out how many wins and we figure out how many losses, we can figure out how many games they played all together. So we have our 2, and this is basically a system right here. But what do you notice about these 2 equations? What do you notice? Okay. What do you notice? What is it about these 2 equations? I know everyone's like working out the problems right now. Like, I can't answer because I'm working it out. Yes, they're both equal. They're going to be equal to each other. Thank you, thank you, Michael. I can't even speak. All right, and then Samantha. See, Samantha was already like churning it out. Okay, so they're both equal. It's both as W equals. So if they're both equal to W, that means these 2 concepts can be equal to each other. If they're going to equal the same thing, set them equal to each other. So it's going to look like this. We have our L plus 22 equals my 6L minus 3. So if I want, I can get my L's on the same side. If I want to subtract this L and put it with this L, remember the number that's in front of the L is a 1. So now you have 22 is equal to 5L minus 3. Then we want to move this 3 because remember, no matter what happens, if it's an equal sign, we are always trying to isolate our variable. That's always the goal. So now you have 22 plus 3, that gives me 25. So 25 equals 5L. So our next step is to divide both sides by 5. And it will say that 25 divided by 5 gives me 5 L's. So they had 5 losses. Okay? So if they had 5 losses, good. How many wins did they have? Where can I go? What could I do to figure out how many wins did we have if we had 5 losses? There you go. Thank you, Vita. There you go. So if we go back to the 2 original equations, we can plug it into one of the 2. It doesn't matter which one because they're going to both give me the same answer. Now, for those that don't believe me, because y'all always thinking I be lying. So if we have our W and we plug in our 5 for the L, and we have our plus 22. That means for the top equation, we're looking at 27 wins. If I try to use the bottom equation, we got my 6 times my L minus 3. And my L in this case is still 5. So 6 times 5 gives me 30. 30 minus 3, that also gives me 27. But did we answer the question? There we go, Phil. Thank you. No, we didn't, okay? And I could tell you, sure as anything else in life, that they will have 5 as one of your answer choices. They will have 27 as one of your answer choices. And then they will also have what your real answer is. And there we go. Yes, Phil with the 32. Yes, Michael with the 32. There you go. Fishing Phil, there you are. You just add the 27 and the 5. Yes, Vita, add them. So all we have to do is just take our 27 plus our 5 to get our total of the 32 games. Okay? So anytime you do any kind of solving, always go back to the question. Okay? I know it's an extra step, but here's the thing. There's going to be some things on this test, regardless if it's GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, SAT, ACT, any kind of nursing, any kind of high school equivalent, any kind of standardized test, okay? You always want to, once you solve, go back to the question. You're going to have some questions that you're going to know just like this. So all that extra time, because roughly you get like 1 minute and 10 seconds per question, okay? That's the one thing that usually gets a lot of people. If you're taking the GED and it's on the computer, well, basically most of the tests are on computerized anyway, everyone freaks out about the time. And it's like, I'm not saying for you to ignore the time, but don't let you sitting there watching the time go down stop you from what you were trying to do. Okay, sit there, take a look. Okay, I got 20 minutes. All right, not a problem. And majority of the time, you're going to get through a lot of this stuff a lot quicker. But then always go back to the question. Okay, make sure you're answering that question. Right. You Googled it? Yeah, okay. Of course. See, Googling, I know it happens. We're not going to sit here and try to lie to ourselves like we're not Googling some of our stuff. But when it's time for you to take a test, and I will never forget this meme I saw in June where this girl was graduating college and she was crying. And her friend was like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I Googled everything. I don't know nothing." She was like freaking out. She's like, "I don't know how I'm graduating. I Googled everything." And I'm like, all right, trust me, it's going to bite you in the ass one day. You have to open up your mind. That basically separates us from animals and humans. Just opening your mind up. Every time I say that, I always think of my friend Lynette. She has a little thing that says, "Open your mind." And I'm like, yeah, it's true. All right. So I'm going to set up the other thing. You guys keep on tapping. We're not going to get away from this. I'm just going to set up by taping in my next parts because I didn't know how much room I was going to need. But we're going to do that. Doesn't do that. And I'm going to try to pick some of the problems that are usually on these assessments. Yep, here's another one. Okay, so this one I actually saw on ASVAB. Okay. Do you cover pre-algebra? Yes. A lot of the basic stuffs I do cover a lot of pre-algebra. So if anything, let me see if I can grab my thing while I'm setting up. If you want, you can go here, my YT channel, and when you type in ACG Math Tutoring, okay, you will actually see a playlist that will say TikTok Lives. And it's a recording of all my TikTok Lives since February 2nd. So if you want to go there, give me some time. I think everything is up to date except for today's or tonight's. So you can definitely go through there. Yes. Okay, so if you go through his, if you really want to hit, and if maybe you want to do more construction, just like what Jess said, I do have some courses available. So you can take it because it's just like me instructing. So it's not, oh, a member of my team. Like I am the team. Like I am ACG Math Tutoring. Like this is it, right? So if you want anything and you know that you're like, I suck at math. Like I haven't done this stuff in years, and you need something that's going to give you that extra practice. You can do these self-paced courses, and with some of these courses, if you need a little bit of tutoring in addition to it, that's a possibility as well. So if you go here, that'll be your first step to sign up. You can go there, or if anything, if you have questions before you sign up, because sometimes that happens, you can go to where it says Service Plus. It's on the bottom of your screen if you're using a phone. And it says Service Plus. Click on that, and you can just send me an email, and then I'll reply to you. Okay? So you got those as options. Okay? All right. All righty then. Okay. Oh, good. Glad it can be helpful. Okay. So, Jake, I guess you're another tutor. So why don't you go live? Oh, I see why. I was like, you gotta put yourself out there, Jake. Don't just tag onto other people like a leech. That's bad. Work into it. All right, let's zoom in. So, if two, so we're looking at these, oops. Let me zoom in a lot closer. There we go. Now we can see. All right, if 4 notebooks and 3 packages of pens cost $7.43, and 5 notebooks and 2 packages of pens cost $7.03, what is the cost of 1 notebook? So right away, boom, we're looking for the notebook. Okay, not the movie, The Notebook. We're looking for this notebook. Okay, so, but we're looking at it. So if we have our 4 notebooks and our 3 packages of pens, we need to know what's going to represent our notebooks, which we can say N, and what's going to represent our pens, which is going to be our P. We can say that. Always have some kind of key, because they'll keep track. If you want to use X and Y, you can use X and Y. Okay, whatever it is, always give yourself a little mini key. So now we can set up our 2 equations. So one of them is going to be 4 notebooks, so that's 4N, plus 3 pens, that's 3P, equals our 743. Okay. I know, right? And here's the funny part, Phil. Never seen it. Never seen The Notebook. There's a lot of movies I've never seen. Okay, I'm probably gonna lose a lot of people. I'm watching right now. I've never seen Frozen. Never seen it. It's probably been on TV multiple times. Never seen it. I've heard the song because I keep seeing videos, but never actually sat down to watch it. Maybe because I don't have any young ones to torture me with it. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Then you regret watching it. I know. Never seen Frozen. What was the other one? There's actually 2. Lilo and Stitch. Never seen it. Mulan. No, wait. Not Mulan. Is it Mona? Mola? The one with the rock in it? Never seen that. I have to watch The Notebook? Oh, okay. It's a game changer? Using different pens. Yeah, there are different types of pens. And then there's one that's green. The green one hasn't ran out yet. So, all right. So now, there it is. Thank you, Raffaella. There it is. Nope, never seen it. Never seen it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day when I get time. That's hilarious. All right. So now that we have our 2 equations set up, we want to find what the cost of 1 notebook is. So this is giving you a hint. They want you to eliminate your pens. Obviously, if you get rid of the pens, you know what the notebooks cost. But right now, we could do elimination. That would probably be your best bet. So if I look, I have 3 and 2. So if I think about it, what number shows up in both the 3 times table as well as the 2 times table? Okay. You love them? It's the perfect love story? Okay. All right. Okay. So 1 works, but 6 is better. Yes. So we want to change these numbers into 6s. But then let me take a look at the signage. 1 is positive, the other one is positive. So in order for me to eliminate, I need to make one of them negative. And it really doesn't matter which one you make negative. But I know in order for me to make this 3 into a 6, I need to multiply by 2. But I don't want to just multiply just the p. I got to multiply everything by 2. And change this 2 to a 6. That means I have to multiply everything by 3. And we get to pick which one you want to make negative. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. So if I want to, I could probably make, I don't know, we'll make the 3 negative. Why not? So now all we're doing is distributing this 2 to everything inside that parenthesis. Okay. So I'm going to do it like this. So 2 times 4n gives me 8n plus 2 times 3p gives me 6p. And then we're doubling up with the $7.43. So that gives me $14.86. Don't be too impressed. I use a calculator. I call it the way that I see it. All right. Are we okay so far? Can't see the full problem. Can't see the full problem. Well, you're not going to because I have to zoom into this part. Okay. But I'll zoom out in a moment. So now we're going to take this negative 3 and we're going to distribute that to everything inside of its parenthesis. So negative 3 times 5n gives me negative 15n. Negative 3 times 2p gives me a negative 6p. Then we have our $7.03 and multiply that by a negative 3. So that gives me a negative $21.09. But why are we saying what's in both the 2 and the 3 times table? Yeah, so we want to know what they have in common. So if I may, let me slide over here. So in the 2 times table, you have 1s, you have 2, excuse me. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking the wrong ones. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and so more. In the 3 times table, you have 3. I'm thinking of the wrong ones. I was right the first time. I was right the first time. So 2's greatest common factor. There we go. So we got 1 and 2. For the 3 times table, we're looking for what they have in common. So you got your 3, your 6, your 9, your 12. Okay. So in the 2 times tables, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. In the 3 times table, 3, 6, 9, 12, and so forth. What is the least? number that they have in common. It's going to be the 6's. Okay. So this is why we want to get the least common multiple. Thank you, Phil. I just looked up there. Okay, so you want to get the least common multiple. So that means I need the multiples of 2. So the 2 times table. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, etc. Then we need the 3 times table. That's 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. Yes, both of them have 12. Okay, but the least common multiple will be your 6's. Okay. All right. Because why would you want to? And one other thing, you could multiply the 3 and the 2 and get the 6. You can do that. But what do you mean, but why? Okay. But why, but why? Okay. Exactly, Phil. Exactly. All right. So we're adding those 2 up. So when we add these 2 equations together, one's positive, one's negative, boom, your p's are done. So now we're looking at our 15, our 8 minus our 15. This gives us a negative 7n. We don't have to bring down the 0 as a placeholder. So now we got our 1486 minus our $21.09. Whoops. 1486 minus 21.9. Is that? Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, so we'll get our negative 6. Negative 623. Thank you, Kai. Okay. 1, 2, does not change the equation. Okay, because you're trying to eliminate. Because remember, we're trying to find what one notebook is. So if you get rid of the pens, then you can focus on the notebook. So we get our answer, divide by negative 7. This will give us the cost of one notebook. So all you have to do is just divide your answer by 7. And what do you get? There you go. Right, so a negative divided by a negative, it's going to be a positive. And then we have our 0.89. Because there's not enough 7s to go into 6. So we see, all right, how many 7s can go into 62 without going over? That will be 8 of them. So you'll get your 56. Right away, when I see I got 8, or once I see the division, let me take it over here so you can see it a little bit further. So you got your 6.23. Once I see 0 7s can go into 6, because obviously 7 is bigger than 6, right away I'm looking at my answer choices and I'm eliminating C and D. Okay, because this has a 1, that has a 1. Obviously, that's not going to work. So then I ask myself, okay, how many 7s can go into 62? Well, we got 8, because that gives us our 56. All right, once I see that 8, I'm going to my answer choices. Oh, it's A. That's it. That's it. Bubble it, click it, move on. Okay, you already spent a lot of time doing this stuff. So once you get down to the nitty of the gritty and you know you're solving it by n because you purposely canceled out the p's, bam, that's your answer. Who is buying these notebooks and pens? I know. It's not that. Let's see. All right, thanks. All right. Well, thank you, Carrie. And I know some of these problems are a bit much. I made the mistake and I got 7. You got 7? How did you get 7? Oh, for you to keep going to see if that will work? Yeah, you can. Word problems drive you crazy? Yeah, they do. That's why they always put it in there. It's a way to filter people out. Okay. 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 What if you miscalculate it? Well, then you're going to have to figure it out. Yeah. 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 I kind of like the graph paper. I love the dot one. The dot paper makes me happy. I think it's because it's just easy for me to do graphs and I can just bubble in. I don't know. It's just me, the way my brain works. But I feel like we should always, especially with math and the sciences, you guys really should be writing inside of either graph paper or any kind of grid paper other than lines. It doesn't make sense to write with lines when you're in math. That's just me. Because I feel like you should always be ready to draw a graph. You should always be ready to draw a sample so you can be the visual. Maybe because I'm a visual learner, maybe that's what it is. So it's like you should always be ready for a graph. And plus the consistency. It's kind of hard to draw very consistent when you're doing like a composition notebook or spiral notebook or anything like that. So that's why I tried to make this the ultimate math notebook. It's really derived for people that are taking math classes. Okay. Yep. Well, thank you. All right, let's try another one. And they always do a problem like this. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I had to do the puzzle piece thing. So they always have a problem that deals with walking speed. Always with walking. If it's not like notebooks or pens, it's always dealing with someone's walking on a trail. Especially in ASVAB, they always use that because, you know, military, you guys are always walking somewhere. Thank you so much for you guys coming in and all the tapping. Man. It's tapping. Oh, the train. Oh, yeah. I think everyone has like a phobia about trains because of the math problems. If a train is leaving this way and another train is leaving that way. Yes. Used to be the most hated. Yep. Well, thank you guys for all the plugs. Yep. If you go to YT. Yep. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, everyone. All right, so this time we have Sarah walked at a speed of 3 miles per hour. Benita rode her bicycle at a speed of 9 miles per hour. They're both traveling the same distance, but took Sarah 4 more hours than it took Benita. How many hours did it take Benita? Okay. You get a problem with word problem solving. Yeah, calculus. Not my thing. Okay, so Georgie's taking the spot at A. Okay. So let's look at it. So Sarah walked a speed of 3 miles per hour. Okay, all of it is per hour. That's one thing, especially with word problems. Always check to see if they switch from hours to minutes, because that means you have to do some conversion. Okay, but right now we're all talking about hours, which I'm like, thank you, God. All right, so now one's walking, one's riding her bike, but they're both traveling the same distance. Okay, so I'm getting A's and I'm getting D's. Right? She's gonna be tired. 3 miles an hour. She's really pumping it out. Okay. So when we look at this, we can say what? 3x or 3h, if we want to say. The other one is going to be 9x or 9h. They're going to be equal to each other, but Sarah, 4 more hours than Benita. How are we going to set this up? What do you think? So it's like we can't look at word problems as a whole. We got to break it into sections. So what's one section? So we got 9 LCD. We got 3 times 4 for Sarah. Well, it's not going to be times, because it's 4 more hours. How are we going to set it up? Oops. Do I want to see your work? Well, they're traveling at the same distance. Sorry, I was getting all kinds of stuff. All right, what's the distance that? Do you want to show your work? I guessed A. No work needed, really. Okay, so what we got? So what will be our two equations? I'm just kind of curious. Okay, so I'm seeing A's, I saw D. It's like you think it's D. I know, I'm curious. I know everyone's like waiting for me to do it, but I want to see what you guys can do. Because when you take the test, I'm not going to be there. Okay. So I'm seeing A's, I'm seeing D's, I'm seeing I'm confused. What do we got going on here? Is this for the ASVAB as well? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I know you were trying to escape. It's like, damn. Oh, I know. I'm only there for a short time. So they both travel the same distance. So basically, they're going to be equal to each other because they're traveling the same distance. Just like how we set it up for, for this one. Because we set them up to equal to each other. I'll hear the Jeopardy jingle. All right. But if we're looking at a speed of 3 miles per hour and the other one was at 9 miles per hour, but they're saying this, here's this last part, but it took Sarah 4 more hours than Benita. That's a key part. Some problems at what? That's your only lifeline. It's like she's on vacation in the Maldives. In the Maldives. Just out. Okay. So that's what you did. You plug it in. So if we're comparing Sarah, which is 3 miles an hour, and she did 4 more hours than Benita. This is high school. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying 2 hours, 2 hours. You're guessing A, 2 hours. But how are you getting the 2 hours? Guess you'll have to do 4x. Is it 4x? By guessing. Okay. Okay, so Benita rides 2 hours. She rides 18 miles. Yes. Sarah rides 3 miles per hour, so it takes her 6 hours. Now I'm seeing B's. I think I'm seeing B's because people are probably taking the 9 divided by 3 to give them 3. That would be my assumption. Okay. So if we had, okay, this is probably the reason why we get multiple answers. So use 18 miles as a common mile for both. Multiply Sarah's 3 miles per hour by 6 and Benita's 9 by 2. Yeah, that's what I actually did. Yep. In calculus. Okay. So now, this is what's probably happening. So we got 3 miles that's happening with Sarah. So you got 3 miles per hour. Then you have Benita. That's 9 miles. Oops, per hour. Forgot about the miles right here. Okay. Now, distance, a lot of people say, well, how far they are? They're at the same distance. So we don't have to worry too much about it. But if we say, like that was mentioned, what is our common? So you can say, well, we got 3s and we got 9s. Well, some people say, well, you got 9. All I had to do is multiply that 3 by 3 to give me my 9. But do you? But I look what is that anchor? I'm looking what Michael is saying, and I'm looking at Anchor is saying. So if Benita rides for 2 hours, 9 times 2 gives me 18. So if I do 3 times 2, that'll give me 6. But what about that 4? What happened to my 4? What happened to the 4? It's like you have to add 4 more hours. Okay, 4 more hours to Sarah, so that'll give her 10. Am I thinking correctly? Okay, for Sarah, it would be 18 out of 3. Okay, so 18 miles. Let's add 4 hours to Benita. Why am I adding 4 hours when it says Sarah? It took Sarah 4 more hours than it took Benita. So 19, okay, equals 3 times t plus 4. Thank you. Thank you. I'm officially lost. That's fine. Because I was looking at like what's going on. Because if you're adding 4 more to Benita, it's not Benita that needs the 4. It's Sarah that needs the 4. So couldn't we say, let's say, I don't know, let's say X is my hours. We'll keep it that way. So Benita she's 9x. Okay? But with Sarah, it's 3 miles per hour. Okay? So you would say, all right, 3t. But then here's this twist. Sarah has 4 more arrows. Sarah, not Benita, Sarah. So couldn't we say 3 times x plus 4? Okay. So right there we go. So now let's do our distribute. So we can have, since they were the same distance, we didn't have to put this person, that person. So we can say 3x plus 12 is equal to 9x. So x is representing what? X is representing the hours. So let's take a look at how many hours these people have been walking or biking. Okay? All right. So we subtract the 3x. We got our 12. 9 minus 3 gives me 6x. So we divide both sides by 6. So 12 divided by 6 will give me 2. Now, we're looking at 2 hours. Okay? So and we're just looking at Benita. So since she was 9 miles per hour, we're looking at how many hours Benita took. And like you guys said, there was 18, right? So 18 divided by 9 will give you your 2. Okay. Oh, Anchor, you might want to calm that down. It's math. I said that. You weren't hugged as a child, were you? I'm sorry. Calm down. But see, here's my thing. Don't just tell me 2. I wanted to know how. Okay? So I saw what Michael was putting in. I saw what you put in. I saw what Kaya was putting in. Okay? Okay. All right. All right. All right. I brute forced it. Yes, she did. There you go. All right, one more that they always use. Oh, I just had it. Nope, not that one. Wait a second, I just had it. Hold on. Not concert tickets. I just had my other piece of paper. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. And this be our last one. Always have measurements all the time. Let me see if I can bring it down here so it won't be like off the table. You actually do algebraic equations. Especially balancing out, don't you? For clinical labs? Probably have like a lot of apps that does this. Okay. There we go. Actually, it's more than 1%, Cool Breeze. It's the 1% of our society that are high school and college dropouts. But the reason why there are the 1% is because they're advancing and working and they're putting their expertise in other things. What are you putting your expertise in, Cool Breeze? What is it? Okay, you got it? There we go. All right. So a rectangle has a perimeter of 44 inches and the area of 72 squared inches. What are the lengths of the sides of the rectangle? Is it 272 squared inches? What are the lengths of the sides of the rectangle? Is it 2? So I got a mixtures of B and a couple C's, or sorry, a couple C's and a couple B's. What do we get? Nope, switch over to B. Switch over to C. We got a C. All right, good. Well, it can't be D. Good. You're doing process elimination. I love that. Okay, George, you're saying B. Okay, so I'm getting more B's. I got an A's, I got a couple B's. Open the schools. The schools are open. Today was the first day, man. Especially here in Maryland. Well, not all of Maryland, but most of them. Okay, so I'm seeing some B's. So it literally can't be C. The perimeter will be 34. It can't be A. It's not logical. Well, I think we're all. Okay, you're starting school on Wednesday. Yeah, so are we. You guys get a nice long break, Robert. My goodness. So we already know It's not going to be D. So I think that's unanimous. I think we're all like, but we're all going to fight to the death if it's A, B, or C. Like, so, because if we multiply A, B, and C, all of them will give us 72. Are we in agreement with that? Can we all come together, put our differences aside, and say, if we multiply A, B, and C, we all can do this. All right, there we go. Let's get some unity in here. All right. So we know that the area is not going to help us, but we need to check the perimeter. And they tell us the perimeter of the shape, which is a rectangle. So we know that the perimeter, there's usually 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Okay? And they're saying that's going to equal 44. So knowing that, we can start plugging stuff in. I know right here, just like one person said, if I plug in the 36 in for one of the L or the S, it doesn't matter. I got to multiply it by 2 because just like any kind of rectangle, this side measures this side measures this side. And we got 90-degree angles. Okay, that's why we got 2. If I multiply the 36 by 2, that's going to give me 72. That's way bigger than 44. Okay, so A is out. Now, if we go, okay, I thought something flashing up. If we go with the 18 by 2, right, that's going to give me 36. So there's some promise. But if I do 4 times 2, that would give me 8. So if I take that 36 plus 8, that gives me 44. Might be B. Because 18 times 2 gives me 36. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 36 plus 8 will give me 44. And you're like, well, what happens if it's C? Trust me, guys, when they're doing these tests, they're not trying to get too deep. They're really not. If you want to, 9 times 2 gives me 18. And then you have your 18 plus 16 because 8 times 2 gives me 16. That gives me 34. All right? So my answer is going to be B. All right. Okay, no problem. Booyah. All right. Can I go over again? Are you just getting here? Probably. All right, so a rectangle has 2 long sides, 2 short sides. And they're saying that my perimeter is 44. Then when it comes to the area is your length times your width. So if I multiply these two, the only ones that gives me 72 is A, B, and C. So D is out. So now you're going to take your answer choices and plug it into our lovely little formula here. Okay? 2 times the long sides plus 2 of the short sides equals 44. If I double 36, that's going to give me 72. That's too big. That's gone. If I double my 18, I get 36. Okay, that's promising. Then if I double my 4, I get 8. So 36 plus 8 will give me 44. And we're looking for something with a perimeter of 44. That's why it's B. Because that's the form of a rectangle. It's always 2 times the length and 2 times the width. Okay, just plug them on in. All right. Real goon hours. Well, thanks, Pops. Appreciate it. So, basically, when you have your system of equations, I know we had so much fun with that one problem, but it made you think. Some of you guys wanted to give up, but then you tried it again. Some of you guys were just like, hey, this was the answer, and just left it alone. My whole thing is, you didn't stop. Yeah, you probably some people gave me the answer a long time ago. I know that. But what fun is it for me to say, yeah, that's the answer. Good job. Yay. But then what about the people that didn't get it right away? Maybe someone needed to see it or read or get some reactions instead of like the answer is A, the answer is B. You need to learn from each other. Okay? You want your what? Okay, I know. All right. So, this will conclude for today. Okay, that was our system of equations. So now I'm going to do all my little selling bits. Now, here's one thing I am making an announcement. I'm putting something together, as I always do. If you know someone that is a junior in high school that's going to be taking their PSAT, remember, the juniors, when they take their PSAT, they are taking what's called national merit. So see if we can get some scholarships. If there are kids that are interested in that and they need some assistance. Now, that's what I do. I have a new client that was out of Puerto Rico, and this is what happens. I totally forgot that they had an earthquake. Remember that? The kids haven't been in school for a long time. So I was like, oh, wait, I have some kids that want to take their SATs, and they're like, man, I don't remember this. And I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? Until a friend of mine says, our kids haven't been in since COVID. And then some may have gone to school, some may have not. And then all of a sudden we had the earthquake. And I'm like, oh, that explains why. She's like, I haven't seen this in a couple of years. So I am trying, if you know anyone in Puerto Rico that wants some assistance with the SATs, I am doing a 5-week program. So I'm opening it up to U.S. as well as Puerto Rico. And I know Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., but sometimes we don't act like it is. Yeah, and the hurricane as well. So they've been going through all kinds of stuff. So the juniors, they're taking the PSATs and some of them taking the SATs. But the ones that they take every October, this helps them to get scholarships. A lot of the colleges are looking at the PSATs because this is the last go round, which can actually help them with schools and everything. So I know there is a 10th grade PSAT. I know there's a 9th grade PSAT now because they didn't know what to do with the 9th graders while everyone else tests. That's the main reason why they have this. So if you know of anyone that is a junior, I'm looking at 12 slots for right now. If I need to expand it, I will expand it. But I will probably keep doing these reviews over and over again throughout the year. So if you know anyone that's interested in it, just send them my way. I'll send them with the information in a second, because that's actually what I was doing before I came on my live. But yeah, so a lot of them. Mathematical thinking, yes. All right. So the famous Algebra. I know, the famous one. So if anyone that is thinking about just basically trying to get through those PSATs, it's basically the whole month of October. You know, some schools do it at different times. So majority of the people are taking the month of October, but I'm doing this in September. I'm starting it September the 3rd. I'm just offering on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it's basically 5 weeks. If we need to do an extension, we can do an extension. But for right now, that's what we're looking at. Okay. So if you know of anyone that's taken the PSATs that needs, what was the letters? The National NMSQT, I think it is. The National Merit Scholarships qualifying. Because they'll put kids, if they do very well, if they're the first 1%, if they're part of the 1%, boom, they get national merit. They can just write their own ticket. So anything to help kids progress, that's what I would love to do that. Okay. Fishing pole. Phil, you all right? Are you having a seizure? What's going on? What's happening? You're fishing? Okay. Are you making up a math problem? I think that's... What's the tension? Okay. All right. I was like, you're okay, Phil? I'm like, 1 minute we're solving one problem. Next minute I'm like, what are we doing? What's happening? All right. So I will be on tomorrow night. Definitely at, yep, I'll be tomorrow night at 9:30 because I got someone at 8:30. I am not sure. It's probably going to be some kind of back to basics. It's probably going to be graphing. And I'm going to see if we can work on graphing, like plotting points, quadrants. At the same time, let's see if we can bring in the equation of the line. Okay, we'll talk about slope probably graphically, not so much algebraically, like looking at that y equals mx plus b. It's mostly going to be graphically. All right. Yes, physics is math. Physics is evil. It's not really evil. Without physics, we'd be all screwed. Goes hand in hand. Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay. Looking forward to that. Awesome. Yep. So, anyway, here's the outro. Duh. If you guys are interested, you love my notebooks, like the organization, love the organize and just putting things together, give you a section for your formulas, a section for your steps. This is my ultimate math notebook. And in the very back of it, it gives you a lot of resources. It gives you a factor sheet. I'm just going to skim through this. Words for operation terminology, inequalities, rules of integers. We're also looking at linear and quadratics, the order of operations, okay, decimal operations, fraction operations, everything to kind of remind you. So for this is going to be for pre-algebra to algebra 1. And it hits on all those concepts that probably in the next week to 2 weeks, a lot of your kids are going to be like, I don't know what this is. So today I know I have my first Alaska kid that came back. He has a quiz today that was on absolute values, evaluation, and order of operations. So before I know it, it's probably in the next couple of weeks. In Maryland, it'll probably be like sometime next month, probably like midway next month. They're going to be talking about slope and the equation line and all of those things, parallel, perpendicular lines, all of that. So if you are interested into my books, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek because you're still here. Possibly next month, September, throughout the whole month of September, I am going to be giving you guys a gift. So all of my notebooks, I'm thinking about doing a birthday celebration for all of those crazy Libras out there. Whoop, whoop. I'm going to probably sell all my books starting September 1st all the way to September 30th at roughly 50% off. Join the love. So Just want to put that out there. So if you're thinking like, I got all this money for one book and this is probably going to last me like maybe a quarter. Yeah. So then you'll be able to supply up and cash up a little bit more. So just beware on the lookout of that. I might actually put that little divot in there sometime in the middle of this week, towards the end of next week, so we can get ourselves, or towards the beginning of next week, so we can get ourselves situated. Alrighty. Okay. Yep, 50%. Didn't stutter. Your birthday September 5th? Oh. Awesome. Not a problem. Okay, so if that's something that you need, you got for a whole entire month. Don't come to me October 1st. Am I late? I will tell you right dead into your sweet little dear tear-filled eyes. Yep. All right, so if you're thinking about getting this, let's go. All right, so everyone, I will see you tomorrow night. I'm going to get ready and get all situated for my SAT stuff. I'm going to try to get all these posts out there. And again, if you guys need tutoring, if you want the replays, make sure you come here, type in this, and then do all 5 of these, okay? We want to get on that. And if you want to buy any of the books right now, I would say hold off just one more week, okay? Just hold off one more week so you can get that sale. All right, so if anything, you have your private and you're probably like, I already bought mine, which is awesome. You're going to want to buy another one, because remember, this is just pre-algebra and algebra 1. We also got the algebra 2 and pre-calculus resources as well. I just put that through. I don't know why I did. I thought I did, but I did it through Amazon. Oh, sorry, I did it through the A. Almost got me. But I didn't do it through my books thing. And this is only for books. This is only for my bookstore that I'm doing that 50% off. Okay? It's not for Amazon. That place. All right, I'm about to leave. Okay, so have an amazing day. I know. I'm going to do it. It's just going to happen. It's going to be amazeballs, right? So if anything, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a lovely evening. Make sure you guys go and visit my friend Lynette. Also, Robert, I think he's going to be going on tonight if he's not already on. And keep learning, guys. And I love the energy tonight. Have a good one. Take care. And don't forget, you're loved.